Welcome back. My final point tonight, well, it's just a bunch of facts, really. You'd think that would be similar to other newscasts and talk shows, but nope, not anymore. Now most of the mainstream media, the same news anchors and news networks and so-called journalists who took their orders during the campaign from the DNC and the Clinton camp are, shocker, not reporting accurately. Yeah. So let's get this straight. There is no Muslim ban, no such thing, that's fake news. It's a term coined by the left to stir up a primal fear in people. The mainstream media is actively spreading a misrepresentation of President Trump's executive order in order to elicit an emotional response from you and me that will help advance their political agenda. And they wonder why only 6% of the American people trust the media. Let's look at the facts. 325,000 people from foreign countries entered the United States on Saturday. Of that 325,000, 109 were detained for questioning. Of that teeny tiny fraction of a percent of foreigners coming into our country who were stopped for further questions, most of them were let go. A few were held for a matter of hours. Now, these people who were held are not necessarily anti-American. No kidding. They simply came from nations who are known to export terrorism. In fact, one of the men who was temporarily detained told the media after he was released that he likes Donald Trump. Take a look.
What do you want to say to Donald Trump?
I like him, but I don't know.
That poor woman's face is like she's never met a Trump supporter before. The groups protesting at the airports around the country, though, funny how the media has no interest in looking into them. This group, let's look at it on the screen, they were standing outside JFK in New York City. They call themselves Make the Road. They're a socialist organization funded by George Soros. Good old, who needs America when you have the UN, open borders, Mr. George Soros. Soros also gave the ACLU $50 million, by the way. The ACLU is the group suing the Trump administration on behalf of the people temporarily detained at the airports. The thing is, the United States of America has welcomed more immigrants into our country than any other nation the world has ever known. I wonder if these protesters appreciate that. I wonder if any of the protesters actually read President Trump's executive order. I wonder if they listened to FBI Director James Comey warn us that ISIS has been telling their operatives to disguise themselves as refugees to infiltrate our nation and harm us. I wonder if any of the people posting on my Facebook wall calling Trump's wall racist, I wonder if they know the radical Islamic terrorists who bombed and shot and blew themselves up in Paris and bombed the airport in Brussels posed as refugees to enter the nations they attacked. I wonder if the people who spent their weekend in outrage over a Muslim ban that's not really a Muslim ban know that a Christian group from Syria was turned away too. I wonder if any of my Muslim friends who are tweeting about their children being afraid of Trump taking them away know that this has nothing to do with Muslim American citizens, nor does it have to do with the fact that the 7 nations on President Trump's list are Muslim-majority nations. In fact, let me share with you a list of the 5 nations that house the most Muslims. They would be Indonesia, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, and Nigeria. Any of those nations on the banned list? No, they're not, even though millions more Muslims live there than anywhere else. I wonder if all the liberals who are going to burn out their adrenal glands with all this outrage believe that any person should be allowed into our nation at any time. Do you think we should have borders or no? Do you think we have a responsibility to protect the American people, or don't we? Do you think America's borders, our airports, our seaports should be open to drug cartels, criminals, rapists, malcontents, and terrorists, just so the rest of the world thinks we're a friendly nation? Remember, when President Bill Clinton declared he would build a wall and deport criminal aliens, Democrats rose out of their seats and gave him a standing ovation. How times have changed. When President Barack Obama banned Iraqi refugees in 2011, we didn't hear a peep from liberals. I find it hard to believe their memories are really that short. Listen, if the media and the left truly cared about Muslims, they'd have marched outside the White House protesting Obama's policy in Iraq, Syria, Libya, and Egypt, which led to the death of innumerable innocent Muslim men, women, children, and families. The women marching in their pink genitalia hats would have been protesting the countries where women can't do that, where they're stoned if they're raped, where they're not allowed out of the house without their husband and not allowed to see the light of day without a veil. But no, they didn't do that either. Instead, they chose to fearmonger and lie instead of educating themselves about the fact that there is no Muslim ban. Can you imagine if these crowds of people gathered at the airports to welcome home our troops instead? And that's my final point. You can reach me on Twitter at Liz_Wheeler. If you like the show, please send me an email at oann.com/contact. And don't forget, if you miss an episode of Tipping Point, you can now go back and watch the archives of 2 weeks ago on cloudtv.com. There are 2 weeks worth of episodes saved there, cloudtv.com. In the meantime, catch us live here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. And until then, have a good night.